right, welcome back, viewers and listeners, to episode 5 for Div0 Unfiltered. I'm your host, Peng Fei, and with me I have the usual crews, my co-host Fadli, my old man Pan Yong, my other not so old man Brandon and Izzat, and of course we have the almost very old man Emil. So it's been a very long time since the last episode. I'm pretty sure you're going to see this episode together with maybe episode 4 being uploaded together. It's been a relatively busy last 2 months for us. So that's why, we haven't been churning out as much content as we would like. But rest assured, we'll be continue at this current pace. So we'll be always churning out content whenever we have time and, whenever we have something interesting to talk about. So today, let me just do a time check. Right now we're at about 10:30 Singapore time on the 30th of December 2021. It's about 2 days to the next year in 2022. By the time when you guys are watching it, it's already a New Year. So happy advanced New Year to everybody who's watching the show. Yeah. And of course, happy advanced New Year to all my crews over here. Oh, sorry, belated for you guys, but advanced to my crews over here. Yes. So because it's such a special day and nearing the end of the year, it's very important for us to talk about what exactly happened in 2021. 2021 has been a crazy year for cybersecurity, be it when it comes down to techniques being utilized, hacks that's happened, and companies has been breached. I still remember our first episode where we launched this particular project. We were actually targeting one of the so-called biggest data breach back in 2021 in one of our local companies. If I remember correctly, it was Singtel. Okay, Singtel didn't get back to us, so we are safe. Yeah, so now for us to wrap up 2021, we'll be going through the same kind of topic, I would say. Yeah, so each of us will be covering to every single one of us what's the most interesting hack, most interesting vulnerability, was the most interesting issue that's been brought up in cybersecurity in 2021. And as always, I'll go last, so I'll always arrow Fadli first. So to get the ball rolling, let's get Fadli to talk about what is his 2021 interest for cybersecurity.
Thanks, man. And good morning and good evening, guys. So
maybe afternoon.
So I think I personally feel for me it's I mean there's a lot of hacks that happen this year, right, and every year, but I think this year has been a lot more than the previous years. But one of the things that I've been observing so far is not a specific hack, but collectively the cyber threats against cryptocurrencies, exchanges, decentralized finance, DEXs, decentralized exchanges. I think this it has been crazy so far. I think this year alone, based on what I've been monitoring and observing and reading as well, it's I think it's nearing to almost $600 million being stolen.
Wow.
Yep, it's crazy, and I think as more people are planning to like adopt decentralized finances and then invest in this kind of decentralized exchanges, I think threat actors are also taking advantage of this situation. All right, because I think there was a recent report where almost $3 trillion are now within the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and that's a lot of money. Of course, it's not as much compared to if you compare it to the money invested in stocks as well as the global financial ecosystem, but there is a huge jump if you compare it to what was inside the ecosystem, in the cryptocurrency ecosystem last year as to now. It's a lot more than the last. I can't remember the numbers, but it's definitely a lot more. I think last year was a few billion. This is 3 trillion, so it's a lot, right? And I think that's where threat actors are also interested in this space, targeting targeting vulnerable crypto exchanges, DEXs, DeFi basically, right? So it kind of questions the role cybersecurity has in this space, because right now everyone is talking about DeFi, but the cybersecurity aspect of it, not many people are talking about it, right? You can see a number of like automated market maker exchanges, platforms that have this yielding system where people can put money and then they can actually churn out a certain amount of profits from it. But this year there's so many the new one that came up, but at the same time there's so many of them were being compromised as well, right? smart contracts vulnerabilities, bugs, devs being targeted by phishing emails, and then all this, and not to mention rug pulls, right? Scams happening where they act as a like a bank where they accept your money only to run away from with that money. So it has been crazy. And then this, see, we want to encourage people to go into cryptocurrency, and I believe that cryptocurrency as well as decentralization is the way forward in the future. Right. But what we want to encourage people to adopt, people are also fearing this, whether they want to invest a certain amount of money into this kind of platforms because of these hacks, right? So it's for myself, I do put some of my money inside these DeFi's, but at the same time, reading the number of hacks that happen, it kind of it kind of questions me, should I really trust these platforms, right? Whether this platform can be trusted, especially if you look at how most of these platform developers, they are mostly anonymous. No one knows who they are, right? And for security reasons as well. And because of that, the trust can never be guaranteed, and there's no guarantee whether they can get the money back. And most of the time, these DeFi's are not insured by other companies, meaning to say that if your money gets stolen from these hacked DeFi's, the chances of you getting back is extremely low. So I think from my perspective, we need to move forward, or encourage people to adopt cryptocurrencies, blockchains, etc. But at the same time, we also need to be aware that this is still, I wouldn't say infant, but we are still at an immature state, right? If you look back at the starting of banks as well, when the bank first started, we have
Mhm.
physical threats, cowboys targeting the banks, stealing, and then when the digital era comes into banking, there's a lot of cases where billions of dollars being stolen as well. So we are starting to see something similar in this space. It's still in the immature state, or I would say, it's, yeah, I do not want to use the word infancy, because this kind of thing has been around since the early, like maybe 2014 or 2015. So it's still mature in that sense, but I think because it's not regulated, right? No one can force them to have this access, and everything has to, the responsibility is relied on the investor themselves, right? Because if these DeFi's are being hacked, they will easily say, I'm sorry, but this is the risk. High risk, high rewards, and this is one of the risks. So I think there's a lot of work needs to be done in this space, in the cryptocurrency space, especially in decentralized finance. And I really hope to see that in 2022, people start to focus on the cybersecurity aspect of it. And then hopefully when that happens, people have more trust into putting their investment into this kind of exchanges, and then who knows? We are not just a smart nation, but we are also a truly digital nation, not just in the aspects of application, but also in terms of digital usage of digital currencies as well. So that's it from my side, man.
Actually, just
Cool,
to add a
man.
bit on the getting money back. I think sometime in like July, if I recall, I think Polygon Network got hacked by a
Mhm.
hacker. I think for like $600 million. And what Polygon did was paid the hacker, saying, "Oh, well done on finding the vulnerability. Here's your money, but can you give us the money back?" And the hacker actually did, and Polygon actually offered the guy a job.
Yep. So
So
that is one out of a 4 similar cases. So the other 3 cases, the developers basically requested for these hackers to give back the money so that they can actually offer a bounty reward. But I think so far only Polygon and maybe one more that the hacker actually returned. The rest had hope. Unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. sort of reminded me of the days when Apple just came out with the iPhone, and then this I think 11 or 13-year-old kid sort of like jailbreak the phone, and Apple offered the kid a job, right? So maybe that's the start.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but so I feel software security issues, vulnerabilities within code, especially when it comes down to DeFi currency, whereby everything is so dependent on the entire structure being there through code itself. It's gonna be difficult. It's very difficult to tell, like, hey, we're gonna be able to write a perfect code that's gonna be able to support this, and there will be no security incidents. There'll always be security incidents. It's just about how is it being dealt with. It's like you can go down to an ATM, you can pull down the ATM to get the money. But there's always a consequence behind that. So there
Yeah.
has to be consequences to what people do, especially when it comes into DeFi or come to cryptocurrency. It should be the same as any kind of other law-breaking issues that's going on. Yeah, there has to be some kind of consequences. Or people just gonna do it. If you can, you just do it. Yeah.
But isn't that also what's the word? There are positive signs, right? The positive signs is if you think about blockchain, and as much as historically there's quite a few hacks that happen, but the fact he has survived, right? He has survived, and then and that's really my own perspective, right? It's going to become a mainstream thing, right? There'll be blockchain and everybody else, or Bitcoin and everybody else. And that's a reality. I think it has proven maybe it needs a few more shock to the system, and then you mature. I think for everything else, DeFi or whatnot, the other alternative coins, right, or other alternative blockchain, it's just making. I think we just need to the next 5-10 years, right, to really flush through the system and say, look, can all this be hardened enough for them to be to be secure for us to put money there? But I saw I think recently, that was 3-4 weeks ago, where I think it's about a month back, right? The US Congress actually have a hearing on cryptocurrency. I told the guy, what's the guy's name? The guy from Binance. It's quite interesting. I'm quite impressed. It was actually, he presented the case really well. If you want, can check out YouTube. Can't remember what's the guy's name. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Yeah, side point. Yeah.
So just to make it clear, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between the application itself and the blockchain.
Yeah.
Right. So majority of the hacks that happen that I've been seeing, right, is the application itself.
Right. The
smart
exchanges, the
contracts.
wallets, smart contracts,
Yes,
and stuff like
not,
this. Yeah.
not the blockchain itself.
Yeah.
So there are cases of blockchain being like compromised, but I think it's just it's a few. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, definitely. All right, great. Now we round off our first wrap of 2021, and we can go on to the next one. You know what, Fali? I'm done erroring people, so I'm going to give you the divine power to do it this time. You get to pick someone out of the remaining crews that's going to be here, and you can pick whoever's going to present next on his wrap up.
Let me get Izzat.
Nice.
For the second person.
Of course.
All right, here you go, Izzat.
I think I cannot pick just one hack. I think this year has been pretty hectic. I think it's, compared to the previous, at least when I started working at the previous 5 years, I think this year was one of the most hectic that we've had. I mean, beginning from actually exactly 1 year ago when SolarWinds first came out, and then after that, I recall I think the last 2 weeks of December, I think we started monitoring, developments in SolarWinds, POCs, in the wild exploits, threat actors using it, and then right after that, the week after, Microsoft Exchange came out. The first week of the year, Microsoft Exchange, and then if I recall, a couple of weeks later, and this was all within a month, right? A couple of weeks later, while I was in reservist. I recall a Cillion FTA. So that was
yes, that's our favorite.
Yeah, and that's where the Singtel one, and that was our first
Singtel,
topic. Yep. And then so that should be an indication on what the year was going to be like, which have taken heat, and we basically didn't stop, because right after that, I think it was in April. So there was there's this trend that happened throughout the year with sprinkled with all these vulnerabilities that pop up, like pre-nightmare, and then we have your log4j, then we have the pulse secure, like from the supply chain. So first it was SolarWinds, and then after that we went to the Cillion supply chain, and then after that it became like ransomware season from like April till July, ended off a bit with like Kaseya. So Dark Side stopped, Everdon stopped, and after that there was Kaseya. And then right after Kaseya, then there was a bit of the supply chain as well. And then throughout the whole year, so we have I think this year we probably had one of the most Singapore hacks. We had like I think it was Orange Tea, we had Audio House, and all this by the same threat actor, Outdoors, and then after that, Outdoors sort of like died down, and then they sort then pick up the slack. So it's hard to pick up just one, but all these different hacks sort of like made this year hectic yet interesting. And also just to add on Fadli, I also did read a bit on like, so essentially it's now the Polygon, and then I also read a bit on I think earlier this year there was the Rari Capital hack, a DeFi as well. And like what Peng Fei mentioned, it actually, I mean, if you read into it, actually came down to programming. So how I can't remember, they actually call it the first, I think, cross-chain exploit, something like that. But yeah, so I think the space will move towards there. We probably can't escape it. And right now, I think the attacks have been ramping up. I just read. Let me bring up my document. Like last year alone, in 2020, there were 3.78 billion stolen for cryptocurrency. And this year, I mean, we're almost to an end. I think reports will be coming out next month or something, and I anticipate it'll be more than that. So yeah, we'll see what next year brings, but the trend seems to be about the same. Log4j just came out, so maybe next week there'll be something new.
Log4j is not stopping. Log4j.
Yeah.
It's been almost a month, right?
No,
I think
it's not
there's,
stopping.
what,
Every other week.
5 vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the one
Yeah.
this week, the guy sort of like hype it up a bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit too much. It was moderate, I would say, as opposed to the first one when it came out.
Correct. Yeah. So we'll see what next week brings. But yeah, that's my take.
Sweet. Nice. Thanks for the wrap up. Izzat. So now it's your turn. You get transfer the power.
I mean, maybe I'll transfer it to oldman.nft.
Oh yeah. So I honestly, I have pretty much the same view. I was thinking hard. I think the same sentiment is that there's a whole bunch of things that happen, right? For me, there are two things that came out quite prominently. Of course, all the supply chain stuff. That ransomware become a huge thing everywhere, right? Seems everybody is paying left, right, center. I say, hey, you know what? Every single organization is trying to crumble under the pressure of ransomware. I think the two things that come up quite strongly, but I just want to, the interesting, I spent a bit of time to over the weekend to look at the code for Log4j. But I think it's a hard problem. The hard problem is, and the reason I've been using, I think when I first started with Java, quite some time back at 1.1, that was like 98, 97, 98, I can't remember what's the period. I think it's 4 years in Log4j came about, and then there's a default go-to because it's so convenient, right? You don't need to think so hard about logging, right? Just a whole bunch of property files, and then you can log based on classes. But I actually went to look at the code again for Log4j and not look at it in details until recently. It's a lot of bloated software. The reason why we keep getting new discovery, because it just takes a lot of time to just go through a whole bunch of stuff, right? And of course, you as you go deeper, become less and less juicy. That's a reality. I think for me, it's still back the question, right? How do we solve that software security issue? I think that's a bigger, quite a humongous issue. There's no easy solution, to be honest, right? Is it really maybe totally change the programming paradigm? Or whatnot. So I mean, we're talking about shift left. It's still a hard problem, right? People are rushing out software. Even the best developer are going to run into issues about forwarding. In fact, if you look at Log4j, one of the early recommendation was I think adding a particular parameter so it doesn't jump to the code, right? But actually there's a line of code that actually bypass that as well, right? But just badly written software, the developer forget and miss that part. So I don't know. I think that's to me that's the big themes is really supply chain is a big problem. We use a lot of people's software. Ransomware had gone crazy, really profitable business, and then how do we fix the software problem has been around all these years, right? I think it's really about maybe having the right, really maybe next year the big hope is shift left is really become a real thing. and we have to do that. If not, things going to break. And maybe the other answer is really changing our programming paradigm. In fact, in my mind, I was saying, look, maybe those languages we've been using, the C's and the Javas, and we're being the foundation of something we're developing on. Maybe it's about looking at alternative like Rust or Go, but I don't think necessarily that's an easy answer, because you can say Rust can force you to write securely, but humans going to make logical error, and some disadvantage is going to happen anyway. So yeah, so that's my thoughts for the year. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna come in here and just straight away share my part, because it's very tied down to what Pan Yong has said.
So I just arrow you now, is it? I just straight away arrow you?
No, I arrow myself.
Oh, okay.
From you.
Okay. So took away my chance. Damn. Okay.
Yeah. I'll give it to you later. Later you can choose between Emil and Random. So why I want to come in now is because this is something that is I was about to bring up. So as opposed to everybody who's been talking about the security incidents that happened over the past year, what I really want to dive into is one of these particular vulnerability that I managed to test out during one of my engagements, and it just shows how crazy it is. Like, from initially, when this particular vulnerability that I found was based off another hacker's report to GitLab on HackerOne itself. So I was reading it. It was about a store XSS in a Markdown because there was a messed up with the design reference filter. So that means you're able to basically jump out of the HTML by giving the image a very how do I put it in layman terms? Let's not go too technical into this. Okay, let me think about this. Okay, basically you give the image a wrapped title, and this will enable the attacker to jump out of the constraint and be able to run HTML based codes on the client or as a persistent site. Or you can basically have a persistent XSS by utilizing this particular first payload when you're launching into GitLab. Then as I read through his report, I was thinking, it's nothing much too crazy, just persistent XSS, probably maybe like a 5 on the CVSS. So then as I scroll down through his report, you can realize that his train of thoughts, and suddenly you hit this one part where there's arbitrary file disclosure. And I was wondering, how the hell did he jump, from persistent XSS into arbitrary file disclosure? So I went to read about it. Then I realized it's actually based on the library that GitLab was using. GitLab was using this particular library that was written years ago. It's called Pre-Mailer Rails, if I remember correctly. So what it basically does is that it help you add in all the CSS and all that kind of stuff into your email when you're sending out notifications to your users. But there was one particular part whereby you're able to bypass and hop out of the XSS. Similar concept. Basically, you upload like a way for you to jump out of the asset. Then after that, from there, this particular malicious HTML is able to be embedded inside. And the hacker utilized like a CSS, basically just using body, because when they're processing files being read on local server, they did not sanitize it. So you're able to call any kind of file. So as long as you're using like a background, maybe like you can use a background, and then you call this particular file, you call /etc/passwd, it will work. And then that means the background image that is being lodged into this email will display the password file on the server itself. And you can basically send it to yourself. So this shows just that it's not really, like GitLab's fault, because they trusted the third-party developer because it's open source software. And of course, they won't be going through that because that's taken up way much more time for them to develop something that's proprietary to their needs when there's already something out there in the open source market, that's what we like to call it. So when it comes down to that, then it's very hard to pinpoint, like, hey, what exactly is going to be a problem here? How are we going to solve this problem? It's always going to happen. So this is like what we would describe as something bad happened upstream, and downstream, because GitLab is utilizing it, he gets affected as well. So unless we're able to find a root cause straight away from the start at the upstream, and then we are able to solve that, that's a perfect world. You're able to find it straight away, and then after, everybody at the downstream is safe because you're able to identify it. But that's impossible because it's an open source project. People who are working on it don't get paid. They're basically doing it out of passion and help for the community itself. So the only key thing that I managed to pick up from when I was doing this is that the engagement that we're doing, the only reason why they are vulnerable to this particular attack is because their GitLab is not patched. When the report is disclosed on HackerOne, it must have at least been about 2 to 3 months. Everything must be clear, and they already patched the thing. They already push out the patches for it. So that means the thing is not patched, and that's why I'm able to exploit it. And I'm able to get the arbitrary file disclosure. So that comes down to patch management policy. How are you doing your patch management? Are you checking whether or not there's new patches coming out? Are you downloading your new patches in time to test them, whether it breaks anything and implementing them? So they don't really have that, because to them, what's very important is that as long as this particular part is working, when I have to churn out my applications itself, right? As long as it hits the sprint time, that should be good. And then by the time when it comes to us, when it comes to the engagement, if they define us for pen tests, we do the pen test for them. They only have like about 2 to 3 weeks left before the product has to be launched. So that means they have the whole, like, only 2 to 3 weeks to squeeze in all the different kind of security recommendations or remediations that we're recommending to them, which is really not enough time. So as you said, shift left, what is one way of shifting left? From my perspective, to shift left would be to involve cybersecurity professionals, or be it pen testers, from the start of a development. So that means you include them into your sprint. They become part of the development team. So every single sprint, when you come up with a new, let's say a new environment, or be it like even launch your GitLab, or be it like a new part of your code, a new module within your application itself, you can call for a pen test straight away. And then this leaves you with a lot of time to fix this particular issue that is being flagged. And then towards the end, you still have, of course, the overall pen test on your entire application or entire module that you're rolling out. I don't know how crazy would that be on the manpower allocation. And like, of course, because as a pen tester, you don't really do the development. So you'll be waiting for them to finish their development, and then you'll be working on that. Maybe your time will be squeezed. Let's say, for example, they take like 9 days of the sprint. Let's say it's a 14-day sprint. They take 9 days of the sprint doing the development. You only left with like 5 days to do the pen test.
And bear in mind is also within that team, right? There will probably be 5 developers, 7 developers, right? It's 5-7 people producing code. Versus how many pen testers are going to put inside?
Yeah, so this formula, as I said, to me, there's still a lot of holes in it. Like, number one is the time, number 2 is the resource that's going to come in. What's the sweet spot? Of course, we want to cut costs. We don't want to have like a team of 10 pen testers just waiting on a team of 7 developers to come out of code, and then you pen test it. So it doesn't really make sense. But I think this would be the right way, of shifting left, of getting the pen testers directly involved in the development lifecycle itself, so that they know exactly what's going to happen. Because to me, one of the other engagement I did, we discovered a business logic issue within the application that we're testing. But by then, when we found out, they only have 2 weeks. Of course, they always find us towards the end when they are ready to launch the product. They'll do, hey, let's clear the security requirement. Let's clear the pen test. And when we find out about it, they only have 2 weeks to fix it. Imagine it's a business logic issue. That means you have to pull down the entire module, recode it, and then redevelop it, and then relaunch it, then go through a retest before you can even launch the product. That's a lot of time wasted and a lot of effort wasted as well. Because can you imagine, let's say it's an upstream issue. A lot of codependencies below the modules below it is requiring your data input from your module, and your module is the one who have the issue, and then you have to change the whole thing about it. So then from there, how are they going to call you? Then it becomes everybody below you also need to change their codes. They just want to add it on, because that's exactly like the point that you were talking about. How are we going to get rid of software security issues? I don't think it's ever going to go away.
I think that the other challenge is those development team will probably be, of all the software they're going to write, they'll probably write maybe 20% of software. The other 80% is going to come from open source, going to come from some jokers report on GitLab, Stack Overflow. I don't know. Imagine if you go look at a Log4j code again, I say, gosh, man, that itself need 10 developers. You need like 3 pen testers for that part. Just even do the review itself is extremely difficult. And of course, to find the right person for it is also very difficult, because due to the lack in our talent pool already currently, it's very difficult to find, talented or good pen testers or even developers itself. For us to, truly solve this problem, I think there's no way. We can only, do our best to mitigate it. It's the best we can do. And there's always going to be Log4j. It's always going to be there. Just like how SolarWinds came out, like Isaac mentioned it earlier, it came out last year around this same period as well. So that's about me. Okay, now I'll pass you the power to arrow between Emil and Brandon, because I'm done with my rant. Let's go to Brandon. Okay.
I see. I like how you leave Emil for last.
So my interest was in for last year was for this year is towards APAC. So we still see continuous targeting of APAC government websites by local activists groups and of course with foreign groups as well. I think global or the international news media doesn't really cover much of APAC, so we don't really hear about them. But so far, these hacking groups are quite active within the region, and we see a lot of activities around the region, as well as we've seen smishing campaigns. And some smishing, these threat actors would basically focus mostly, for example, China, South Korea, and Japan. But sometimes they would pivot, and we would see attacks in Singapore, India, and this was never been in the media. So, and it's quite interesting. This information we could find in underground Facebook groups, stuff like that. And the thing with this, like, it's almost a daily occurrence, and especially with Southeast Asian countries, except for Singapore, they really don't mind this, and they don't fix their vulnerabilities. And so it's like every day you will be seeing one agency being hacked. Even some of the countries, like agencies that are involved in cybersecurity, gets hacked. So it's quite interesting, and the results are the results of the attacks, right? They would either be unauthorized disclosures in social media, Twitter. At the same time, people would be selling this in underground markets. So the underground market has really been active for the last for this year, and we've seen a lot of information from Indonesia, even the Philippines, even Singapore. So like for the StarHub leak, right? So the announcement happened in August, but the leak happened in July. So people have already access to this information before the disclosure by the company. And we've seen quite a lot of threat actors activities in APAC. And what is the funny thing is that so local threat actors would attack their government, and when foreign actors tries to attack their government, right, they would attack those foreign actors' government websites. So it's like a mini cyber war between these different threat actors. And yeah, so moving on, another campaign that was one of the biggest was a money heist against the largest bank in the Philippines, and there were 700 clients affected by the heist. And the MO of the threat actor was he was able to access the internet banking accounts of this 700 clients and transferred the funds to another bank in the Philippines, which is a crypto-friendly bank, and then purchase the cryptocurrency out from the bank. So basically exiting the money out of the normal financial system and putting it into cryptocurrency. And it was really organized, because what happened is that they did it at late in the evening, like between 12 midnight to 1 a.m. So most of the clients are already asleep, and they were the only alert that they were able to receive was the initial alert, wherein their accounts, there was an update on the account, either an update on the password or an update to the mobile phone or the email. And after that, there was no alert, like they did not receive that fund transfer, because the actor has already changed the information, their personal credentials. So when they woke up, It's like nothing has happened. They see an update, an alert for an updated profile, but it's like, yeah, probably nothing. It might be a bug from the bank. So, and once they log into their account, right, they cannot log in, or they've seen their funds, the funds were already gone from their account. So it was really organized attack by this threat actor. And analyzing this attack, right? Like a lot of the clients confirm or claim that they never clicked any phishing campaigns, or they never received any phishing campaigns. When I was looking at this incident, I realized that for a couple of months before this, a lot of Facebook posts in the Philippines are actually somewhat innocent, but they're actually harvesting information from the users. Like enter your birth year, and you'll find out the GIF, right? So, find out the GIF based on your birth year,
Right.
and
It's
then
gonna be in 10 years' time.
yeah,
What a money.
yeah. And then so this kind of innocent attacks, right? They would know now your full birthday. Let's say they would just look at your social media, and then, okay, yes, his birthday is on 10th January, and then he answered he shared his birth year through this post. Or they would just ask you like those basic security questions, right? Like, where is your first job? What is the
Yeah.
name of your dog?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of social media posts that was found that I was able to find in both Twitter, Facebook, even in Instagram. So I suspect that the heist, right? The plan of the heist was planned months ago, and so people did not see any phishing campaigns through to their email, but actually it was through the social media. So these threat actors may have been harvesting the information in social media platforms.
Fair matter is, I think all these applications do sell your data off.
Yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure they do, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's quite easy.
Yeah, true. But the thing is, this is publicly available information. So you don't even need to buy it. You just find the right questions, and you'll see the answers. Yeah, you'll find the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the key issues over here will be cybersecurity awareness.
Yeah, true.
With the campaigning of it, which is
Yeah,
something Singapore government has been pushing out a lot, especially when it comes to scamming and all this about public information being declared. But I mean, some people will still feel like it's okay with declaring all this kind of stuff. I recently joined. I was telling Fali about it. I recently joined one of the groups that a few of my old friends set up for NFT. So they were doing this. They're doing NFT through games. So they're hiring like people to play the game for them, to help them mine NFT and stuff, and then get 50-50 kind of stuff. So you see like people going for the stuff, the so-called scholarships. They call it scholarships, and then from there they will just put down their real full name, their age, where they stay, which city they are in, what are they currently working on, how many hours are they willing to spend online. All this information is not just available to the people who's running the group, but every single member that's inside the group. If I just go into their channel and I just right click, copy all, and I'm pretty sure all this information will just be easily available for anybody that's in the group. It's just how crazy it is. Like I don't understand. And as I said also, I guess it's really the education on cyber awareness part that is lacking. In general populace. I feel governments around the world definitely, should be able to act on it and make it, such that people can understand what's the dangers of really letting out all their full real identity, their age, their hometown, and everything on that. Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, education has to be, cybersecurity awareness has to be a core foundation nowadays, right? Like we're in a digital age, and everyone have access to all of this information. So if once you upload your information in the internet, then it's there
forever.
Forever.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Fali.
So talking about security awareness, I think my take here is it's generally people won't David, but they will never act on it until
Something happened.
something happened to themselves. That's
true,
when
true,
they
true.
start to realize the importance of security awareness. Like the Singapore Police Force, CSA, came out with a lot of advisories, like almost every day. There's a lot. There's tons of scams since internet first introduced in Singapore. You know, you
Yeah,
you go
Fadli,
to
send me some money.
you go to Singapore
Yeah.
Police Force,
Jiren
right?
Prince.
The Singapore Police Force even have a different domain just for
Scams.
providing
Yeah.
awareness on scams, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it still happen, right? So it's like that. It's
Yeah, yeah.
no one's gonna learn until something hits them. Then
True, true, true.
that's the eureka moment where they will,
True.
okay, I need to
Yeah.
put double factor nowadays.
Yeah.
I think it boils down to psychology. Like humans tends to be trustworthy of other human being, right? Because if we don't have that, right, we cannot create society. So we cannot build society if we don't have trust. So I think it still boils down to psychology and behavior. And if it's ingrained within us, right, it's still difficult. And people would just say like, it's not me, not my problem.
Yeah, but I must say though, I'm just not disputing Fadli's point, but throughout the years after, with the launch of the cyber awareness campaign here in Singapore, I do realize that the younger generation of people, the younger kids, they actually are more, I would say, secure than when I was their age. Last time I used to sign up with my full name, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then at Hotmail, and then after that, when they'll ask me security questions, I'll put in all the real answers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but now if you were to ask like a kid in secondary school, like to fill up this particular thing, he may not be doing exactly the same as me. But that is like a proof that cyber awareness campaign and education does actually help.
Yeah.
Maybe the younger generation are more trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they just don't want to answer the real,
Yeah.
the real info. Yeah.
So in my daughter's phone, so in the directory, right? I'm actually called uncle. Yeah. Yeah. So just in case, I'm uncle. Yeah. Yeah.
Need to
I'm so
safeguard
real. Yeah.
Need to safeguard the confidentiality also. Like what Pei mentioned is totally true. Like asking for CVs or resume and people start giving information. The thing is, we try to send because in the hopes of being, when we apply for a job, we send our CV in the hopes that they will return our, return back, right? But at the same time, we do not know because there's no transparency or visibility of how this information is being handled.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
From our side, sure, they will say that confidentiality, which is, I'm telling you, all these are bullcrap. I've attended events where they mentioned that all this information will not be disclosed, will not be shared, but on the back end, all this information was actually shared to other clients. It's crazy, right? So yeah, I mean, trust is one thing, but at the same time, how our trust is being abused
Yeah.
through this I don't know, it's the I'm trying to find the right word to say the brokenness of confidentiality is terrible, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
We need to find a way of how we can submit our information so that it's secure. Like all this sending, like please send via encrypted. Sure, we can do it. By the end of the day, they receive it, they decrypt it, where the app they store it, who they send it to, we have no idea, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like this information should be sent to the blockchain. So everybody who is being transferred to
your plug for NFT.
NFT, yeah. You just need to insert a canary or something like that to the document.
Hey, where's Peng Fei?
It's gone. Blame on the network. Yeah.
Blame it on the network.
Yeah.
You went missing, man. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just more about like how can we ensure that whatever data that is being transferred from us to the organization, it's because it's too much. It's just too much. Just think about it. All the things that we send out, our information that we subscribe, all this, we will follow the, let's say, the terms and condition or the security best practices, like 17 alphanumeric. But at the same time, if this information that they are not stored encrypted and then their database is being breached, everything's in plain text, it beats the purpose of us practicing it, but the person that stores the data did not practice it, right? You know,
So I think there are things like there are certain transactions you have to do, right? That will need a lot of details from you, right? And things like a lawyer, property agent, and whatnot, right? But these are probably one of the worst places that there's no that doesn't really protect our data very well. So it's a hard problem. Yeah, we need we put it on blockchain. Yeah, that's what we need.
I've observed a couple of incident in Asia Pacific, right? Like government websites asking for KYCs. And then they store it in their servers, but the servers have opened their vulnerabilities where you can just extract all this information. I think it's good for Singapore to do this in using SingPass, right? Like you have a central repository of information, and it's really secure, and companies doesn't need to ask you for documents, but rather take the information from a single source. Which is quite good. Which is quite good.
And also, of course, you know, you also leave it entirely up to you. So you have to check the link before you send your information over. So that's very important as well. One of the key, I would say, success within our COVID period is a trace together application which utilize your SingPass. So I was really a cheeky lah. So I went, I want to test out our neighbors' COVID tracking application on I will not say which neighbor, so that I don't get charged or something. Say that I'm misusing the app. But
you can edit this episode over here. This part of it.
You better edit this part.
No, I think it's okay. I mean, it's not against the law. I didn't crack their app at all. It's their app's proper behavior. So what happened was that I went into the app. I wanted to register myself. So I was thinking, hey, I need to get a NRIC of somebody. Like that's in the nation. I don't have it, so I can't be implementing it in my own because they don't have like SingPass, where you can just log in and they pull everything from it. So I did what is that I went to Google, of course, search for their ex-prime minister who somehow managed to upload his own old NRIC online. So this is available online, all this public information. So I took that particular IC, I went in, and then I used that particular IC and I logged into the COVID tracing app of their country, and I'm registered as the person who I took the IC from. There was no checks. There's no IC number. I just enter a ton of fake address.
You get $1 billion in your bank account?
Oh no. This is not their ex-prime minister.
No. Right.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. Wrong ex-prime minister. Yes. But it was another one. It's another one. It's one that's more popular.
You picked the wrong one, man.
Yeah. Maybe that's 2 billion. Yeah. That could be 2 billion. Yeah.
Should miss my chance. But yes, as I said, it's quite like the amount of things that they've been doing regarding this kind of application and the security of data from this sense. They never even verify who I am. I can be walking around and I can be the prime minister of state, ex-prime minister of state, of course. But I mean, there's still quite a lot of work there, not just our neighbors, but countries around the world can pick up on especially when it comes to cybersecurity. Of course, there's also work for us to do. When we leave it to a single source of information, such as one is storing such critical information like SingPass, once it gets breached, then we're gonna have a huge problem. Everybody's gonna be leaked out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'm not saying that our system is perfect. What I'm saying is a step in the right direction, and I feel like everybody in the world should probably go for this kind of approach lah. But political issues, like if you're trying to implement it in USA, that's going to be a huge problem. People will be like, hey, you're tracking me, man. How can you be tracking me? Yeah, that's going to be a huge problem. But yeah, it's in a perfect world, this will be how it works out. Yep.
Agree.
Yeah.
That would be all from me. So mostly APAC attacks and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. Then that we get to hear how threat actors actually still are very patriotic.
They're very patriotic.
So when their own countries get hit, they'll hit back. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's to score brownie points, right? Yeah. Just in case someone knock on your door. Yeah.
Just in case. Yeah. Hey man, at least I tried. I tried to hit them back. Yeah. Okay, so then we're left with our last member of the talk, Emil, to share on his wrap up for 2021.
Thank you very much. Actually, earlier I wanted to jump in a few times, but just couldn't get a chance. I think it was great. Very vibrant discussion earlier. I think
next time we give you a ticket. You flash it on the screen. I want to jump in. Yeah, we will stop.
I need a little flag. I was like, let me see. I think I just really want to add on 2 quick points on what Randall and Fadli said earlier. I think the first one was talking about awareness. Div0 we all have been doing awareness for many years, actually, together with
that's right.
Singapore government and everything else, SPF as well. I mean, yes, Singapore is definitely spending a lot of effort doing awareness, but it's always the same old questions, right? Awareness is one, but eventually it's really the adoption of it, right? Which Peng Fei mentioned. But I think one big thing that awareness is kind of failing at the moment is, I mean that, well, let me rephrase it. It's not really awareness is failing, but there's only that much awareness can do, put it that way. At the end of the day, I think, as all of you mentioned earlier, unless someone is really being hit, they wouldn't know the impact of it. They wouldn't really care that much. But the other thing about awareness is, actually most of the time you talk to majority of Singaporeans about cybersecurity scams or anything else, the reaction is always, yeah, I know all these things, right? Yeah, of course people knows about it because people are exposed, they heard about things, they've heard about viruses, they heard about Trojans, they heard about all different scams, right? But the thing is, people can't add 2 and 2 together, right? Like, when they are facing a certain situation, like what Randall mentioned earlier, like giving up personal information just to, I don't know, get some benefits out of it, or even what Peng Fei mentioned earlier, right? They don't see that situation as what was being educated to them. Because what was being educated is, right, there are dangers out there, but people don't know that, people don't know that most of these dangers are masqueraded among normal activities, right? Although as much as the government or even banks and so on can they talk about it, they raise alarm about it, but it's always a retrospective. People when you say, oh yeah, of course. But then when things happen, people they don't relate because it's masqueraded, right? So as much awareness that we can talk about, it's not going to be might not be as effective, right? So there is definitely something that we need to do about this. And then the other thing that I think I kind of want to quickly jump in on is what Fali mentioned about the brokenness of privacy, right? Or the brokenness of personal data breaches and so on. I do want to highlight one of the papers that I really enjoy, which I think, if not wrong, is called The Brokenness of Privacy. It's an academic paper. It's quite an interesting concept. It's not new. The paper has been around for a couple of years, and people who are working in personal data knows about this concept, say, I think 5-6 years ago, actually. So actually a couple of my friends in PDPC, right, the Personal Data Protection Commissions, also know about this, and it's something that we need to fix, which is the whole concept of the paper is very simple, right? Everyone is doing anonymization. Everyone under the law needs to protect PII, needs to protect PD, right? For those who don't know, PII means personally identifiable information, and PD means personal data, right? So people knows they need to protect it. They knows that according to law, they should collect as little as possible. They need to protect it, and so on and so forth. They need to disclose it, be transparent, and so on. But actually, that's the interesting about it is 10 different companies doing 10 different things. 10 different companies collecting different type of data to do their own business. But guess what? If you manage to stitch them up together, it's a whole full personal data, right? So it is possible that it is still traceable. And the great thing about personal data is out, right? It's personal data, it's personal to us, it doesn't expire, right? It's just it's something that this, our current society that we need to grapple with. I don't think we really have a formula to that at the moment. Right, so talking about now, talking about my main topic, I think what is the event of the year, or my interest of the year?
Your interest of the year, yeah.
My interest of the year. The annoying thing of going last is I had a few things I was thinking, maybe I can talk about that, and just went like tick tick. All right, is that talked about that? But we talk about it. And well, to sum it up, I'll say, well, to sum it up of my sentiment for 2021 is thinking back about this quote, or this quote I heard, I think about 5 years ago, and I think it's quite widely agreed upon, is a lot of hacks, right, a lot of breaches, compromise were not happening back 5-6 years ago, because people have not found a way to make money out of it, right? Many years ago, right, 5-10 years ago, we know, I mean, since the beginning of the days, right, since the 90s, since the noughties, right, we know as long as that software is vulnerable, right? I mean, the last conversation we talked about that as well, right? That's pretty much the bottom line of it. Which means anything that's going digitalized is hackable, right? Which your ship, your planes, everything else, your ports,
Tesla,
everything, right? Everything is Tesla, your cars. Everyone knows that all these things are hackable 10 years ago, but we don't really hear too much. We didn't really hear a lot of things about it. A lot of hobbyists, a lot of hackers, researchers are publishing lots of work to say that, hey, all these are hackable, but why don't we hear it in the public? Because people can't make money out of it. Or even the worst, I think the biggest worry of all is hospital, right? People say hospital is one of the most vulnerable, and yet 5-6 years ago we hardly hear anything about hospitals until lately, right? So I think my my highlight of this year is, if you look at some of the hacks that Izzat mentioned earlier, that that chain of incident. Firstly, that list of incidents sometimes is still unbelievable. This all happening this year, right?
Yeah.
And we dealt with all this year, and it's the whole timeline was so compressed. I was still wondering, was it last year? Was it? It's crazy with coinciding that with how we dealt with COVID-19 as well. So I would say if you chain these together, and if you analyze it properly, is people, the hackers, the attackers, the criminals, they have found a way to make money. And that's why we are seeing all these things together. And I think the main big pillars behind making money out of attacks is ransomware, as well as attacking supply chain. Because ransomware, on one hand, is an issue that is really hard to solve. Just chain it back to how we talk about awareness and people's behavior. And supply chain is a big issue that is almost impossible to solve overnight. And we talk about that side of shifting left, the ratios of pen testers and all. It's just crazy. And now moving forward, and we saw people finding a magic formula of attacks, making money, how that slowly changed to cyber physicals, how things being affected. And now we are thinking forward ahead to explore what we call metaverse, right? And it's just gonna be a big crazy thing. So how things gonna evolve over time. Great thing for cybersecurity is job security for all of us, I say, right?
We're gonna end.
It's crazy. So I'll say, to sum it all up, really is there is a big paradigm shift towards attacks, right? It's a big paradigm shift, and attackers finding a way to really know how to affect people's life for their gain. And I would say, one big highlight is really that we have to start thinking about resilience, right? It's not just about protection anymore. We saw all the different attacks. We know that it's impossible to protect everything, test every code, just look at Log4j and so on. But there is, we need to start, thinking of, our mantra of IPDRR, right? Identify, detect, protect, response, recover. That we also need to start thinking about the response and recovery part of things. How do we make sure that we are always there to respond properly, resiliently, and to move forward in our future. Yeah, that's my review for the year.
Right.
Very, very insightful, Emil, I must say. And it's pretty much sums up a lot of the points that all of us have been talking about for the past, how long has it been? 1 hour. Yeah. Ooh, nice. It's just been 1 hour, guys. We didn't
Okay,
drag
one
you
more
out
to
the
go.
longest round.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now, we decided, since we're done with our wrap up for 2021 based on the individuals, our individual interests, or be hacks, be vulnerabilities, be issues that's been occurring, or even like the whole wrap up of the whole year. I would like to invite, because it's almost going to be a year since we launched this particular project. And yes, we only done five episodes. No hate, okay? I already said at the start, guys. We are gonna go at our own pace. When we are free, we're gonna be churning this out until maybe one day you start subscribing to our account, and we'll see if we can come up with more content for you guys. I'm just kidding. So there will be no subscription. There's always be free. You can always listen to us to talk amongst ourselves. So because we're coming close to the 1 year anniversary mark, this is not the anniversary episode. As I said, it's a wrap up episode for 2021. We'll do another episode hopefully for the anniversary. What I'm going to ask here for the individual crews that's together with me today, and of course my co-host, is what do you want to see in Unfiltered in 2022? What kind of content? It's on the spot, so I'm not going to give you guys any time to think, and I'm going to just arrow somebody, and you have to say what you think that Unfiltered should do in 2022. All right, we're going to go with, I'm going to skip my co-host because I always arrow him. This time we're going to go with Random first.
I'm thinking about maybe expanding more on the number of episodes that we can make.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Increase the frequency.
Okay. Very contradictory point.
Yeah, we I think we have to find a couple of guests as well, and then plan out our episodes.
Yeah. I think the episode that we did, I think it's the only episode this year that we did with guests.
It
was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think we should do more of that in 2022.
Yeah, we should do more. Yeah.
Agree, Brandon. Thanks. So now I get to arrow somebody else. We'll do with Izzat.
Yeah, I was thinking of
No OnlyFans, okay? No obscene stuff.
OnlyFans, Patreon, you name it. I was thinking, is it possible maybe we try to have like one episode where we live stream, and then we could venture to Twitch, and then we have live chat. So instead of the monthly Div0, we have this kind of maybe just 1 or 2 for next year, just to have a pilot just to try it out.
I think
and we have live chats, and we can respond, like things like that.
Yeah, the subscription on Twitch as well. I know what you're thinking.
Amazon Prime.
I know what you're thinking, man. Yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe we can do an AMA for that. Like,
I think that's cool. Yeah. Probably like a 3 hours long one, I think, because I want to be Singapore's top streamer for that 3 hours.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Izzat. I think that's a great idea. Okay, now I'm gonna come back to our old man in the house.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of having more guests. I think it's quite fun. And I think it's also good to have a bit more diversity in our guests as well. Bring some female, very male dominant in the square. Not trying to be politically correct, but I thought it's quite good to have a bit of diversity.
Yeah, definitely.
In our group.
We are racially diverse though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually positive stuff. I think it's good to like meet physically. If you want to do a live stream, I think we should just hop in the studio and do it live, man. I think more fun, right? Yeah, get a bit more chemistry. Just somehow it's kind of sick of like doing like Zoom call, Teams call, whatever call, right, all the time. So it's good to be just a bit more physical. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, Emil, a sweet.
Sweet, get us a sweet somewhere. Yeah,
get us a sweet, man. JW Marriott at South Beach is pretty good.
Is that not been there? Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I can testify. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, Emil, you heard it, Emil.
So if you're into Joe Rogan, what Joe Rogan does is they have a lot of like short, little 5 minutes, 10 minute stuff. I think we can be more creative in the way we market the content. People will not listen to the full 1 hour, 2 hours, right? But if you can like pick up from a production angle, well, we can pick up a few more like snippets to just grow. I think what we really want to do next year, hopefully we can grow the audience to the channel. So I think that's something we can think about to do.
Maybe marketing plan.
Yeah, we need to build a marketing plan.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a sponsor, right?
Right. Right. How's Red Alpha doing? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, we just like this is 2 minutes for 30 seconds just for the sponsors.
We can give you some freebies, man, here and there, and the stuff we're gonna do you like advertisement and that kind of stuff. Have talk. I mean, I think it's great.
Yeah, that's my inputs. Yeah,
that's great. Thanks. Always full of wisdom as the most eldest guest here. Of course, now let's go to my co-host. Let's go back to Fartley. What do you feel?
Feel about what?
Sorry. Maybe we should have a podcast in the NFT world.
Yes. Metaverse. We were saying, Fartley, we were releasing our own coins. You know, the Div0 Unfiltered coin.
Wait, let me buy the domain first.
Sorry, what's the question again?
So what do you want to see in Unfiltered in 2022?
Okay.
Okay, no coins, huh? No NFT, no coins.
Yeah, no coins, no NFT. But I think what we can consider, right, instead of meeting physically, we can meet virtually in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Got banned.
Look.
For all of us to buy Oculus.
I know this sounds a bit childish, man, but you should check out some of the like what they have done in Decentraland as an example, like how they conduct live concerts in Decentraland. How they conduct fashion shows in Decentraland, and in fact, at the end of this year, they are going to have like a countdown party, countdown party in Decentraland as well.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, with the what's happening right now, COVID, Omicron, this changes the landscape of socializing. All right, even if this tends to die down, it will take a few more years for people to be really comfortable in getting crowded again, because this mindset of fearing the next batch of virus will come in. So I think perhaps if we have the resources and utilities, why not we can have our own meta meeting.
Sure, sounds good. I think maybe not in Decentraland because it's expensive. How about Minecraft server?
So you don't have to pay to have an avatar avatar in there, but unless you want to have a property, then yes, you have to pay.
Yeah, we want a Div0 house, definitely.
We need sponsors for that, man.
We can't be destitute, just walking around hobo.
Walk around.
Pretty cool. I think we can have like a Div0 Minecraft server live stream, or whatever it's gonna be. Give people a few tastes. After that, maybe we can convince some sponsors, and then we can get a house in Decentraland. Maybe we have some subscriptions on Twitch. That's just gonna be able to fund that.
We still need a coin.
Yeah. Worst come to worst, we can get Izzat on OnlyFans. I mean.
Fit pics only.
Okay. All right. So for myself, before I hand it over to Emil to wrap it up for us this episode, for myself, I wish, of course, everything that you guys have mentioned so far is brilliant. I love the ideas that you've come up with, and of course, I really do hope that we're able to come up with more episodes. More stuff to talk about. As always, sometimes I listen to podcasts, like cybersecurity podcasts, when I go to the gym nowadays. It's pretty cool to listen to everybody else's opinion on certain issues that's been popping around the world. So for us, I feel that for next year, we definitely should include in people from not just diverse, genders, but also diverse backgrounds.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Like we just have meshed up. Let's say, it's crazy right now. What I'm gonna say is that let's say we invite a CISO down from somewhere, and then we get a student come in, and then the two of them will be discussing on the same topic, and then we see what kind of the difference between them. I think there's BuzzFeed this kind of video before or something on YouTube. I can't remember. It was like a little kid and an adult, and then they rate the food, and then they see how is it different and kind of stuff. So we can do that kind of stuff. Sounds like content that we can create. Yeah. But I think one key aspect we really need to work on, of course, is the production and the marketing part. Because if we really want to grow our audience, I feel we definitely need a proper campaign to tell people when we're going to be launching our episodes. We're going to have a little cutesy stuff. I don't know. I'm into that stuff. Maybe you guys are not, but cutesy campaign stuff being pushed out around that line. And of course, for production, definitely, with a more advanced team, we can do more crazy stuff. Maybe even like a live stream running around CSA building. I'm just kidding. yes. But yeah, that's basically my hopes for 2022. Maybe we'll grow big enough, we'll be able to venture into that particular realms and stuff. So now I'm going to pass my time to, of course, Mr. Emil to do a wrap up of what he wished Div0 Unfiltered in 2022 should do, and what are some of the upcoming events for Div0 in 2022 as well. Free plug, all right? There's no Red Alpha over here, only Div0.
We'll see.
I'm going to cut you out. I'm going to mute you once you mention.
I think you got to drop off earlier, so I don't think you're the host now, so you can't really...
Fali, help me out, Fali.
Well, quite a lot of things to cover. I think everyone share the same sentiments. For sure, I think the first thing that comes to my mind, and the second thing that comes to my mind was slowly was covered by everyone else. For sure, I think yes. I think it's good to have more diverse views. And I do share the same sentiments as compared. The first thing that comes to my mind was like, maybe we should get younger folks, get some students on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really no longer a student. We definitely need some students.
I know, right? So I think, marketing wise, to make things more interesting, definitely I think for now, really, for this part, I want to say we are calling for volunteers, right?
Yeah.
Definitely we need more volunteers to help out in Unfiltered. At the moment, it's just pretty much Pompey and Buddy helping as much as possible, where the rest of us just crash in as much as we can. So to even do like snippets, video editing, those takes time. So definitely it'll be great to have more volunteers on. So anyone who's listening and interested to volunteer, do join us, do help out. And yeah, I think that's kind of when I also thought about it'd be great to get these volunteers on to share their view as well. Gender diversity wasn't planned at all. It's just when we were thinking of Unfiltered, just like, hey, I thought of Peng Fei running this because he was a student. He should have more time, but he didn't. Hence, we only got 5 episodes.
Graduation, guys.
Yeah.
Times just tough times, man. New job, working as a grunt from the
trying to pretend to be a PM. Yeah.
Hey, that worked though. That worked.
That worked. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to have Fadli, Izzat, and Brandon because threat intel, right? They are always in the forefront. They know what's going on. We need to hear from them. I'm just a busybody, and we need Pang Yong, of course, right? His wisdom.
Wisdom plus 100.
That represent the particular age group, which is quite important for diversity.
So we always get Pang Yong to speak to students. That's that's what we learn, right?
Sounds a bit creepy, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think getting diversity is great. Getting more guests, I think, as mentioned, I think as highlighted, right? I think it was second of the episode where we got Dylan. As well as X-Wings. That was fun. That was really fun. So definitely we would love to have those. Actually, part of this wrap up, I kind of want to announce, or kind of want to, announce is the right word, but having a physical Unfiltered, it is definitely quite possible in the next couple of months. As Red Alpha's office is, slowly.
Not a suite.
I think.
Oh man, not JW Marriott, man. I was looking forward to that.
Too expensive.
Doing the pool, right.
So we do have a couple of spaces. We have some space that potentially, I can't really promise that yet, but potentially we can use. That particular space also kind of doubling up to help out Crest to run test centers as well. So why not?
Nice.
To do this.
But we're going to gear up for the physical thing, right? With cameras and mic and stuff like that as well.
That's definitely what we need to do. sort out with, I think, right, Peng Fei can sort that out.
Whoa.
Whoa,
All right, guys, I don't think it's happening.
Unless it's a tweet, right?
Yeah.
So I think this year has been fun. Really, it's been fun. I think next year it'll be great to see how we can move forward with more volunteers and and definitely I think in the timeline is we are looking at sponsorship and how we can bring in more sponsors, and that will actually comes to my big wrap up for Div0 as well, right? There's so many things that we did this year. I can spend 10-20 minutes talking about what Div0 did, but at least I think what I want to do for today at least is just to announce what might happen or what's going to happen in 2022. 2022 for Div0 we are expanding a bit. We have been great for the last don't know how many years. It has been the way that we have built our community, and there's always more that we can do. And every time we meet our members, all the meetups that we do, Unfiltered that we do, a lot of sponsors wants to come in, share their knowledge with our members as well. I think pretty much in short, lots of things we can do, and in order to do that, we need more resources, right? We need more resources, we need more capacity, we need more volunteers. So definitely we're going to call for more and more of those. And one big announcement potentially is we are going to roll out memberships, right? And this membership will be able to bring in more benefits for our members to be able to come together, learn more together, providing better facilities as well as learning opportunities. So and all this will be used and fund back to all the different activities that we run for Div0, for the community, and to build Singapore's ecosystem. I think that's
Sweet.
That's all for me.
Yeah, membership, nice, like a country club.
Yeah.
Coming there, everybody like five. I don't know. This is not my generation thing. I think it's beyond my generation, but a 5 C's thing. I'm glad.
I think the new generation will just be the maybe 5 O's. I don't know.
5
O's.
Being OnlyFans. Sorry, I'm gonna stop.
Oh man.
What kind of content Izzat has been consuming?
And all this membership, I mean, we're hating them, man.
Yeah, just get a subscription thing up, man. Just click one button, you get all the special contents.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Emma, for the wrap up. And I'm sure we all of us are super excited, for the new changes that's coming to Div0, and hopefully that help us to get a suite at a JW Marriott at South Beach. The pool I heard is really nice too.
Yeah, I don't think that's the intent for the membership anyway. Yeah,
but yes, of course.
Good dream, good dream. Yeah, try harder.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can see how it goes, right? Like part of the membership, things that could potentially be is on the table is like some of the exclusive events that can be that members can attend. We actually have this idea in SynCon for our Infosec and City SynCon conference that Div0 is a co-organizer of since don't know how many years ago. So actually for SynCon 2020, right, before COVID happens, the whole idea is our venue was actually in Changi, right, just beside what's that nice little shopping mall called?
Jewel. Yeah. It's like airport.
Right. So it was a nice. We secured a very nice venue, very nice place. The hotel was great with us, and the whole idea initially was having as many people as from the community to kind of stay together, right? So get a room, and we have all different kind of villages, all different kind of speakers, all different kind of activities, talks into the night, right, to midnight. Yeah. So that's the whole idea, and with all these membership system, with more resources, definitely something that would definitely be fun to explore.
Yeah. So it's not a dream, Mayong. It's reality soon.
Yeah, in 2-3 years time. Well, hopefully next year we'll see.
Next year.
Yeah, I'll see you at a bar.
Yeah, sounds like a real good plan. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm noting that down. That's the top one plan right now for
Yeah.
Unfiltered crew. Yeah. So yeah, I would like to take this opportunity and thank all our crew for being with us. For the last one whole year. My co-host Fali, the usual members themselves, my Pan Yong, Emil, Rendon, and Izzat. It's been real fun talking about cybersecurity with you guys, and I hope we can stick together and maybe make more episodes next year. Yeah, invite more people now. And of course, the last but not least is although it may seem like there's very few of you right now, but we really do appreciate the support you guys been giving us, the listeners, our viewers. Yeah, it can be either or. Sometimes you don't need to see my face to listen to my voice. But yes, all the tiny little support that you've been showing on the thumbs ups, the likes, the sharing, of our Unfiltered episodes that's been going out, it definitely helped us a lot. And we hope that you'll stick by and see what's in whole, for 2022. Hopefully you like the contents even more. Of course, once we get that suite, trust me, it's going to be better content. You can bet that that's going to be a real special episode. Real special. Yeah. So yeah, that's a wrap up for 2021. And I wish everybody have a really great year ahead in 2022. Whenever you see this video, maybe mid-year next year, but just remember that the wish is always going to come true from the start of the year to the end of the year. Okay? Yeah, so have a good one, everybody. We'll see you guys in 2022. Take care. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.